Let me tell you something that might just shake the way you look at school, power, and what it means to stand your ground. You ever been in a room so silent you can feel the walls holding their breath? That's where it all started for me. The day those scissors snapped shut and 23 inches of my hair to hair my grandma braided for hours the night before hit the linoleum floor like the world itself had decided to stop turning just for a second. I still remember the cold air brushing the back of my neck and the whole class frozen, phones already out, filming what they figured would be the end of yet another black teacher's career at Magnolia High, or maybe the beginning of something nobody saw coming. Trent Bishop, yeah, the golden boy, quarterback, son of the biggest construction boss in town, stood there grinning like he'd won a prize at the county fair, my braids dangling from his hand, his voice dripping fake innocence. Oops, I guess your fancy hair got in the way of real education. You know what I mean? That sick laughter echoing off the walls, the kind that lets you know folks like him think they own the place, think they own you. Funny thing, nobody in that room knew I'd spent 15 years in a dojo, that my black belt wasn't just for show, or that my grandma Essie raised me on stories about how strength was more than just surviving sometimes. It's about making sure nobody ever forgets where you came from and what you'll do to protect it. The light from the window caught those braids on the floor, every single strand of memory, a hope, a lesson in patience and love from the woman who braided my hair and told me, "Baby girl, your hair is your crown, your mind is your weapon, and your heart is your compass. Don't let nobody shame you for any of them." I wish you could have seen the look in Trent's eyes when I turned around, something shifting in me, the kind of calm you get right before a thunderstorm rips the sky in half. See, I wasn't always Miss Washington, the chemistry teacher. I was Kendra from Detroit, raised by a woman who ran a community center, taught reading, self-defense, how to keep your chin up and your fists ready if the world pushed too hard. Lost my parents when I was 8, but my grandma never let me lose myself. That kitchen chair on Sunday, mornings her hands working oil through my hair, braiding in stories of ancestors who survived worse than anything Magnolia could throw at me, is where I learned that armor isn't always steel. Sometimes it's the patience and pride you carry right on your head. Karate started when I was 12. Master Tanakold, soft-spoken and wise, saw something in me and taught me that true strength protects, doesn't dominate. That justice is about using your skills wisely, and mercy, well, mercy comes after you've made the lesson clear. Coming down to Magnolia Falls, Alabama, I thought maybe small-town schools could use someone like me less chaos than Detroit, a chance to give each kid the attention they deserve, maybe make chemistry less scary. Principal Hayes seemed all right, all about test scores and fresh ideas, but he never told me that the last teacher in my room quit after Trent and his crew broke her down, or that in a place like this, boys will be boys meant something a whole lot meaner. Trent was Magnolia royalty, tall, handsome, quick with a smile that melted grown-ups' hearts and froze out anyone who crossed him. His friends, Jake and Dylan, played their roles: the muscle, the tech guy, the followers desperate to stay in his orbit. They'd run 3 teachers out in 2 years, never breaking any rules that stuck, just waging a quiet, relentless war on anyone they didn't like. My first 2 weeks were too calm. In hindsight, I'm staying late, lesson plan sharp as a knife, making slime and volcanoes, chemistry real for kids who'd never seen it done that way. My braids changed every week, always neat, always armor. But Trent noticed everything: the way I stiffened when kids got mouthy, the care I took with my clothes, the way I didn't shrink when he started pushing boundaries. At first, it was little things: late to class, fake apologizing so loud nobody could hear the lesson, asking me to repeat myself, hinting I had an accent that made him struggle. That stung. Every black teacher's heard it, that you're not quite from around here, that your authority is up for debate. I handled it, kept it professional. This wasn't my first rodeo, you know? Detroit kids tried intimidation that would make Trent's bunch cry, so I didn't sweat it. Not yet. But week 2, things got messy. Spilled lab gear, dropped books, Jake and Dylan with their perfectly timed disruptions, a symphony of disrespect. The class started to get it: if you crossed Trent, you got run out. If you kept quiet, maybe you'd be left alone. I wrote everything down: dates, times, names. Me grandma always said you can't fight what you can't prove. Principal Hayes shrugged it off, told me to manage my classroom better, and never noticed who really ran things in a school. By week 3, the comments got mean. Trent complimenting my braids, saying they were exotic, asking if I did them myself, making sure everyone knew he thought they didn't belong. His stare followed me around the room, not just teenage attitude, but something colder, like he was looking for a crack to break through. Jake mimicked my hand motions. Dylan pretended to film, the game shifting from annoying to sinister. Still, I stayed calm, figuring if I outlasted them, I'd win. But you ever feel a moment coming like thunder in your bones? That Wednesday, teaching molecular bonds, the air thick and sticky, I kept turning to the whiteboard, not seeing Trent and his boys plotting in the back. The first tug on my braids was so gentle, I almost ignored it. The second, harder, deliberate, sent a shock down my spine. That's when I heard it, the snick of scissors, and before my mind could catch up, my hair was gone at 23 inches. Hours of my grandma's love, all on the floor. Trent's voice rang out. Looks like your hair got caught in something. Good thing I had scissors handy. His lie was so lazy, so obvious. Almost laughed almost. I turned, saw him holding my hair like a trophy, Jake and Dylan filming, the rest of the class stuck between horror and fascination. My fingers went to the back of my neck, jagged, uneven, my shield destroyed by a boy who thought humiliating me was his right. I tried to speak, my voice a whisper, but Trent doubled down. Maybe you can teach now instead of worrying about your looks. That was the line, the moment that made me see what I had to see. He counted on me breaking down or blowing up. Either way, I'd lose. But he didn't know who he was dealing with. 16 years of karate isn't about fighting. It's about knowing exactly when to move. I picked up my braids, set them on the desk, looked every student in the eye. Take out your phones. Record this. You're about to learn what consequences look like. Confusion flickered through the room. Trent's bravado starting to crack. What are you going to do, hit me? He sneered, still holding the scissors, daring me to snap. That's when I remembered Master Tanaka's words. Sometimes the only way to teach respect is to demand it. I stepped forward calm, measured, every muscle ready as crew, shifting, unsure now. Jake moved to defend him, but I fixed him with a look. You think cutting a black woman's hair is a joke? You think there's no price for this? Every head in the room turned. Everyone suddenly aware this wasn't just a prank, it was something way darker. You brought weapons to school, planned this attack, and now you want to play innocent? I asked, my voice steady as stone. Trent, realizing his grip was slipping, snapped back. It's just hair, it'll grow back. I looked him in the eye. Tell me, Trent, how would you feel if I shaved your head against your will? He stammered. That's different. Why? I pressed. He couldn't answer. Because I'm a black woman, and you think my body's yours to violate? I finished for him, letting the words hang heavy, the class finally seeing the line he'd crossed. That's when Maria Santos, a kid who'd never spoken up all semester, whispered, "Oh my God, Trent, what did you do?" The spell broke, students shifting, phones raised, nobody laughing now. You're going to learn what real consequences look like, I said, and when Trent lunged, scissors raised, last desperate play, for power I moved. 16 years in a dojo, every motion practiced 1,000 times. My left hand blocked a strike. Right hand found the pressure point under his ribs. Trent dropped, gasping, scissors on the floor, the class so silent you could hear their worldview changing. Jake froze, realizing size means nothing when you're up against someone with skill and purpose. Dylan stumbled back, glass breaking behind him. I told everyone, stay put. Keep recording. Trent tried to catch his breath. What did you do to me? Defended myself, just like I was trained. I replied, the secret finally out. Principal Hayes, Officer Martinez, even Sheriff Bishop Trent's own uncle came running, finding a room full of witnesses, video from every angle, and a pile of evidence on my desk. My braids, the scissors, the truth. Trent tried to spin it, but Dylan caved, showing them a video from the day before, proof they'd planned it all, right down to the ugly words nobody could deny. The look on Sheriff Bishop's face when he realized there was nothing he could do to save his nephew? Priceless. By sunset, the story was everywhere, hashtags blowing up, the whole town buzzing, teachers and students coming out of the woodwork to tell what they'd survived. The school board tried to sweep it under the rug, but parents packed the meeting, demanding change. Some wanted me fired, but more stood up and said, "Finally, someone fought back." The Bishop family took their money and left town good riddance. 3 weeks later, my classroom was full for the first Magnolia High Self-Defense Club meeting. Students eager to learn more than chemistry, how to protect themselves, how to stand up for each other, how to make their own armor. Maria was club president. Even Jake joined after testifying against Trent, saying he wanted to be better. Me? I just kept teaching. Room 237, now a place for more than science, see a place where respect had to be earned, where dignity was claimed, not given. The old Confederate flags faded away, and 2 years later, I was named Teacher of the Year, standing in the same gym where Trent was once king. I looked out at those faces, kids who'd learned their worth, parents who'd fought for their children, even a few old bullies who'd found better paths, and I told them, education is about seeing yourself and others as fully human. When you stand up to injustice, you teach courage. When you stay silent, you teach fear. So tell me, what would you have done? Is it ever right to fight back in the face of injustice, or should we just keep our heads down, let things go, hope the next generation will fix what we're too tired to face? Drop your thoughts below, because this isn't just my story. It's about all of us and what we're willing to accept or challenge in the places we call home.